And here I was talking to myself. um, so, starting from the top, totally uh, different stream tone today. It's going to be Danny Masterson. If you don't know who he is, that 70s show, and since then, very mediocre actor. Sorry, but he's barely done anything since then that is of note. Pretty, well, was pretty high ranking in the Church of Scientology, Cult of Scientology. I don't know how you'd say that these days, but let's just put it nice. It's a lot more a cult calling itself a religion than it is anything else. Um, and a massive, massive, massive win for women who've been R-worded when they were young, really young. I'm going to go over a couple of articles here. One's from the local news team in New Zealand, One News. Literally, this is the only thing I've heard of it in the local press over here. It's not big news. This, to me, this should have been going for ages. Like since the first trial, if not before that. So, and then I want to read a little bit from Mike Rinder's blog. I'll drop both these links into the description, and yeah. So, a jury of 12 found Danny Masterson guilty of two out of 3 counts. The judge's instruction was, if they found him guilty on 1 count, he wouldn't be going to jail. 2 counts, he would be going to jail. All 3 counts, basically the key would be ground up. So, yeah, 2 out of the 3 is not bad. This was written yesterday. Yeah, early yesterday morning for me. Late yesterday for the UK and US. 7 women, 5 men in the jury reached verdict after deliberating for 7 days over 2 weeks. Could not reach a verdict on the 3rd count that alleged he raped a long-time girlfriend. Voted 8-4 in favour. So that's a pity, but yeah. He was led from the courtroom in handcuffs. 47 years old. Even if he... Okay, there's conflicting news about how long he's going away for. I'm no lawyer. I don't profess to be. And anything I say should never be taken as legal advice. But from my understanding, there's a 30-year minimum per charge from the court in California. Hollywood? California, somewhere around there. I think it's California. And on that, because they won't be served concurrently, it won't be the two sentences on the same time. It's not going to be 30 years. It's going to be the first sentence, and when that's done, serves the second sentence. One after the other. Not at the same time. So, if it's 30 years minimum, he's got 60 years, because he's got 2 counts of it. And 2 counts of 30 is 60. Which, well, I'll just put it nice. Even 30 years would make him his life would basically be over when he got out. His wife, Bijou Phillips, apparently she did more than wept. Apparently she let out a horrendous wail, and the judge basically turned and said, "Are you okay, or do you need to leave the room?" Fair enough question. And one I probably would have asked her. And here we go into a statement from one of the Jane Does. Referred to as Jane Does, probably more out of courtesy than anything else. But hey, I am experiencing a complex array of emotions: relief, exhaustion, strength, sadness. 100%. Plus more. Knowing that her abuser, Danny Masterson, will face accountability for his criminal behaviour. The woman whose count left the jury deadlocked said in a statement, this is Jane Doe 3. While I'm encouraged that Danny Masterson will face some criminal punishment, I'm devastated he has dodged criminal accountability for his heinous act against me. Yeah. I'm kind of shocked, but not totally shocked. I mean, it is really hard to say what is rape and what isn't rape in a let me just flip that off. In a relationship, it is really hard. And the jury's going to have to believe one or the other, because he said, she said. Yeah, it just, even the conversation is deadlocked around it. The original trial in December was deadlocked jury, led to mistrial. The plaintiffs or accusers story was he drugged the women's drinks so he could rape them. So, date rape or whatever, but yeah. He used his prominence in the church, where the 3 women were also members at the time. No longer now, thank goodness, but to avoid consequences for decades. And yes, that is true. As we will see, there is some major stuff that's not right with Scientology. And if you think it is, well, take a look at yourself. Masterson did not testify, and his lawyers called no witnesses. This is interesting. Very interesting. Masterson himself did not testify or was not put on stand to basically say, you consented to me putting drugs in your drink and then raping you. Yeah. It would have been a whole different trial if that had have taken place. The defence, so Masterson's team, argued that the acts were consensual, attempted to discredit the stories by highlighting changes and inconsistencies which they showed signs of coordination between them. No. Dude, there's something called memory, and memory kinda gets distorted over time. And if you've got to retell the same story 3 or 4 times, adding that tiny little detail that you've only just thought of that you missed out in the last 2 counts of that story, well, why the hell not? Basically, that's the thing there. The defence attorney, Philip Cohen, is just a piece of work. If you decide that a witness deliberately lied about something in the case, you should not consider believing anything that witness says. Yeah, that was one of the arguments to try and discredit it. Unfortunately, I find he lied more than the other side. So Scientology played a significant role in the first trial, but an even larger one in the second. It was Judge Charlene Olmedo allowed expert testimony on church policy from former official in Scientology leadership who's become prominent opponent. I will leave links to 4 really good YouTube channels in the description as soon as this is finished. And they are all dealing with Scientology stuff. Tensions ran high in the courtroom between current and former Scientologists and even leaked into testimony. Doesn't surprise me on that one. With accusers on the stand saying that they felt intimidated by some members in the room. Yep. That was Scientology's whole game, that. Actor Leah Remini. And yes, one of the links to YouTube channel will be in the description. A former member who has become the church's highest profile critic, and I must say probably loudest critic. I might put a few messages out and see if I can't get a couple of these Scientology or ex-Scientologists on just to have a chit chat. I think that would be kind of cool. Sat in on the trial at times, putting her arm around one of the accusers to comfort her during closing arguments. And then it goes into what Scientology is. the judge did keep limits on how much prosecutors could talk about the church, and primarily allowed to explain why the woman took so long to go to authorities, which is essentially a lot of internal policy at work. And there's someone who could explain that a lot better than I can. Not having been a Scientologist myself ever. The woman testified when they reported to Masterson to the church. They were told they were not raped and were put through ethics programs themselves, and were warned against going to law enforcement to report a member of such high standing, which Masterson was at the time, apparently. Yeah, that's where I've got the issue with it. Told they were not raped. I'm sorry. If anyone puts something in your drink and then tries to have intercourse with you, that in itself is rape, whether it happens or not. So that's where Church of Scientology has got this all wrong. They were raped, they were punished for it, and they were retaliated against. The district attorney Reinhold Mueller told the jurors in his closing argument. Scientology told him there's no justice for them. You have the opportunity to show them there is justice. The church vehemently denied having any policy that forbids members going to secular authorities. I can think of probably 3 policies I've heard of off the top of my head. Yeah. Yeah. Smell like shit. 2 women who knew Masterson from social circles in the church said he gave them drinks, but that's too long, didn't read. Yeah. Now I'll flip over to Mike Rinder's blog, which I will leave this article in the comments below as well. I hope to reach out and get him on for a little chat, because he would be able to shed a lot more light on this. At last, a measure of justice for the victims of Danny Masterson. It has been too long coming. These women have had to endure way too much to get to this point. This is Mike Rinder writing this. I'm just putting voice to it. Each of them are strong beyond comprehension and have survived the ordeal they were put through, first by Masterson, then by Scientology, then by law enforcement, and finally having to relive the horrendous offence, not just 1, but 2 trials. If you think you have any idea the emotional, mental and physical toll this sort of experience exacts, unless you have endured it personally, you cannot know. That is true. So true. I haven't endured it personally. I have no wish to. And I wish the Jane Does didn't have to either. I don't wish it on anyone, to be honest. It's horrible. I hope these 3 victims and others who were abused by Masterson sleep peacefully tonight, knowing this monster is off the streets and they have made the world a safer place by their heroism. The Associated Press covers the events of the day, which is basically what the One News derived the article from. So, a final thought. This is catastrophic for Scientology. I can think of another word that fits better than that, but anyhow. They have harboured and protected a convicted rapist. Their sordid, dirty laundry has only begun to be aired in this matter. The civil suit will now proceed, and that will open the door to enormous amounts of discovery into Scientology's role in this that was not available in the criminal case. Literally just because of how the criminal case is separate from a civil case. David Miscavige and his minions will not be sleeping well tonight. They have to decide whether they're going to do as they so often have done in the past and lie that Masterson was unable to live up to ethical standards of Scientology, so we threw him out long ago, but did not say so publicly because we did not want to jeopardize his legal defense. Or now sit mum for fear that if they do throw him under the bus, he will turn on them in the civil case. Oh, I've got news for you. I think he's going to turn. I'm pretty sure on that one. One thing for sure, Scientology will come out waving the victim card, claiming they have been persecuted. It's the Catholic Church isn't blamed when a mafiosi is convicted. It's as predictable as day follows night. The obvious difference that the Catholic Church doesn't have written policies to not go to law enforcement or protect celebrities or intimidate witnesses, which they kind of do anyhow. Enough said about the Catholic Church. So, yeah, that's basically the press that I've had around here has been that one article. It doesn't matter what news agency I go to in New Zealand Herald, News Hub, TVNZ, One News, Radio New Zealand National, I'm going to get much the same article, and there's going to be no difference in it. So, I will drop links, I'll look up links, or I'll drop them in the description, or a pinned comment, one of the two, and you can, if you want to go visit Aaron Smith-Levin over at Growing Up in Scientology, he's the guy I've been watching, that I've watched the entire trial. I just thought with this, I needed to get it off my chest, and I believe 4th of August is the sentencing, so I will be sure to do a video for that. And as far as the civil stuff goes, well, probably not going to hear an awful lot about it, but yeah. The rest being said is pretty much that. So Blown for Good, Mark and Claire Headley's channel, Mike Rinder's channel. There's one guy over in the UK who's an ex-Scientologist I've been watching as well, and absolutely enjoying his channel. So I'll put him in there, and yeah, there's going to be at least half a dozen links in the description. That being said, I'm out. Catch you guys round. Hopefully with a much lighter story or stream next time.